Per recent reports by NFL Insider, it has been revealed that quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers Russell Wilson has a no-trade clause in his contract, in which he signed this offseason for the veteran minimum. So, Russell Wilson, he came over from the Denver Broncos this offseason after he was cut and released from the team, and he signed for the veteran minimum with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And apparently in his contract, even though it's not a huge deal, it's only the veteran minimum, the Pittsburgh Steelers have huge plans for Russell Wilson, as they put a no-trade clause in his contract, kind of giving him the security and kind of leverage on the team. So, before I get into the report, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news and updates. Also, like the video. Now, let's get right back into it. So, there's been the competition talk this offseason. Russell Wilson, Justin Fields. We all know Mike Tomlin basically came out and said Russell Wilson's a starter, but there's still that competition talk of, hey, can Justin Fields win the starting job? And also, is Russell Wilson going to be the starter 100%? As of right now, it looks like Russell Wilson, unless something goes really bad, Russell Wilson looks to be the starter. But that security that the Pittsburgh Steelers, just by giving Russell Wilson the no-trade clause in his contract, basically secures Russell Wilson and lets him know, hey, you're our guy and you will be the starter. So that's just an extra boost of confidence in the contract. Yes, it doesn't really mean too much in terms of the Pittsburgh Steelers probably aren't going to go out and trade Russell Wilson, so it won't matter. But just giving him the extra security, basically showing him, hey, you are our guy. So in the recent report, Russell Wilson has a no-trade clause. And this report is by NFL Insider Dan Graziano. And this was on ESPN Get Up, so you know it's a reliable source on ESPN. So, after conducting research, this is what his quote was. I was looking at his contract the other day. It's interesting. Russell Wilson actually has a no-trade clause in his Steelers contract, which is bizarre at $1.2 million. I have never seen that before, but it gives him some say in it. End quote. So there it is. Russell Wilson has a no-trade clause in his contract after this NFL Insider says that he actually saw Russell Wilson's contract up front for himself, and it says right in it, no trade clause. So the same reporter said this quote as well about Justin Fields potentially winning a starting job for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Here it is. I've been thinking that if Justin Fields wins the job in the offseason, that the likely scenario is that Russell Wilson would be cut. And they can do that, right? They're paying him $1.2 million. It's guaranteed, but people take bigger cap hits than that on their budgets and on their cap all the time. If they get to the point where Fields is going to be the starter, Russell can say, trade me or cut me. And then he has some control over where he goes. I think there's a lot of this story to be told. I don't think it's all about or all out of the question that Russell Wilson's not on the Steelers by the time the season starts. End quote. So that topic right there that he brought up is interesting, because just say down the road Russell Wilson does not play well and Justin Fields overtakes him as a starter. Maybe just say come NFL trade deadline, just say Justin Fields is a starter by then and Russell Wilson's still on the team. Russell Wilson cannot be traded by the Pittsburgh Steelers because he has that no trade clause. He could only be traded if he agrees to the team that he goes to. He could only really be cut by the team. That's what is the scenario in this situation. And that's why that no trade clause is a little bit huge and gives that little bit of leverage towards Russell Wilson. But it makes sense. Russell Wilson, he could have signed with some different teams, but he signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers for the minimum. So it makes sense giving him some leverage, especially if you do believe that he is a starter, just like Mike Tomlin basically came out and said that he would be the starter. So it makes sense to put the no trade clause, because it's not like you're planning on trading him before you even signed him. So you probably did not plan on trading him at all when you first signed him. So putting that no trade clause probably meant nothing, especially because it's a 1-year contract. So it was just kind of making Russell Wilson happy in terms of the deal. But this scenario brought forward by Graziano, basically saying if Russell Wilson loses the job and Justin Fields wins it, then it becomes complicated. But anyway, enough with this topic. Let's go back to talking some positive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers' Russell Wilson. So Justin Fields, just the other day after the Pittsburgh Steelers OTAs, he he had some great things to share about Russell Wilson, his teammate. Here's what he had to say. It's been great just learning from him every day, just how detailed he is with everything, just how he works, everything he does, the way he acts around his teammates. He's been great, a great teammate to me, a great mentor to me, so it's awesome to have a guy like Russell in the room. You get to learn from him and kind of pick his brain on some stuff. End quote. So, even though Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, the competition talk, they're going to be battling out for the starting job, obviously Russell Wilson is still being a great teammate, and he always gets kind of betrayed in the media as a player who's not good around his teammates and stuff like that. But it seems like whenever his teammates do talk about him, they always praise him. And even his recent teammates, Courtland Sutton, he came out and said a lot of good things about Russell Wilson as well, even though he didn't have to. In his recent interview after his OTAs in Denver Broncos, he had this to say about Russell Wilson leaving and getting cut. That was a tough pill to swallow. You see the writing on the wall. I think they made a business decision moving Russ. I'm so happy for Russ, for him to get picked up as soon as he did. I think it speaks to the caliber of player he is. I think it speaks to the caliber of person he is and the way he goes about his work and business. I think that's something Pittsburgh saw and ultimately knew they couldn't pass up on. I think he's going to have a lot of success. I think Russ is going to continue to build on his Hall of Fame legacy. I say that very boldly because I think he gets a bad rep from a few different people, from a few different things that didn't go the way he wanted them to go. I think that the quarterback position gets hit the hardest because that's the guy that controls everything that goes on with the offense. When we as an offense were doing well, I think he caught the wrath of it. End quote. So Courtland Sutton, he didn't have to bring up all those good things about Russell Wilson, but he did. So it really goes to show the leader that Russell Wilson was when he was with the Broncos and all the bad rep that he was getting basically from his head coach, Sean Payton, and the media. He was kind of portrayed as the bad guy, but he really wasn't within the locker room. So same thing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Right now he's getting really good media coverage by the Steelers, and his teammates are talking really great about him. So it just shows the kind of leader that he is on and off the field as a player and as a person. Now, one last thing before I end this video. ESPN's on Get Up, Louis Riddick talked about whether Fields could beat out Russell Wilson or not, and he went on to say that Mike Tomlin, he really likes Justin Fields and his potential and just his outright explosive ability to really play the quarterback position, not just his throwing, but his running ability as well. And he said the best person will play per Mike Tomlin. And also he says that the Pittsburgh Steelers are smitten over Justin Fields, meaning that they really like him and they really like what he could do as a potential starting quarterback for their team. So this is just talk around Russell Wilson, Justin Fields. May the best player win, but the Pittsburgh Steelers obviously really like Russell Wilson, really like Justin Fields. Right now, Russell Wilson has the advantage just based off his contract, the leverage he has, and also Mike Tomlin coming out and saying it. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're going to have a battle going on between the two, making the best person win. I would rather see Justin Fields win the starting job because that just shows how much of a player he is and how much growth he has shown. But also, I think Russell Wilson will win the starting job and be the starter to start the season. And I believe that may be best for the Steelers team for right now. For the future, it will obviously be Justin Fields. But if he stays with the team, that is, and doesn't sign with a different team in the offseason because he is a free agent. But currently, with the players we have, the wide receivers, the team in general, just a veteran team, Russell Wilson is the best player for the team right now to lead the team this season. But with that being said, that's just my thoughts. That's the opinions of the insiders and everything like that. Just bringing you all the news. So make sure you like this video, turn on notifications, and subscribe to the channel if you like everything Pittsburgh Steelers news and updates, highlights, analysis, reactions, everything like that. I've covered all this off season. I'll continue to cover all. And also let me know down in the comments below your thoughts on the topics of this video between Justin Fields being maybe a starter down the road and the Pittsburgh Steelers being smitten over him, and also Russell Wilson, no trade clause in his contract, and just the reports by his teammates and everyone else in the media that he's a really good leader, and he was just getting a bad reputation in Denver. So, let me know your thoughts, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys all later. Until the next video, I'm out. Peace.